Hello all, I hope this video finds you well, and I'm excited to participate in this year's virtual career fair. I'd like to start out by introducing myself. My name is Sergeant First Class James Sanford, and I'm a Senior Recruiting and Retention Non-Commissioned Officer with the South Carolina Army National Guard, or a recruiter, what you think of when you hear the term recruiter. Now, I'd like to be honest with you, if you see me look over the camera, I'm looking at the notes, trying to keep myself on pace with the information that you want to know. And today I am tasked to explain the National Guard in a general manner, but also tell you a little bit about what I do, because in turn, you might go through some of that process if you decide to sit down for an interview or move forward with joining the National Guard. So, what led to my current job? I was in high school and I was into sports. I knew I liked being a member of a team and that I wanted to be a part of something bigger, but I knew I also wanted to go to college. I didn't necessarily have a way to pay for college, and I didn't want to take on the burden of student loans, so my uncle referred me to a recruiter to learn more about the National Guard. Now, you don't join as a recruiter. That requirement is that you need a couple of promotions and a couple of different schools to get there. So like a traditional National Guardsman, 1 week in a month and 2 weeks in the summer, that part-time service, I joined as a heavy equipment operator. Now what that is I learned about bulldozers and dump trucks and hydraulic excavators. When you think of people that you see out in equipment, whether that's on 385 with the construction cones, or you see something happen on Wade Hampton or Pleasantburg, and people are fixing roads and bridges, that's a lot like what we did, but also on a community scale of building ball fields or community centers, or repairing after storms and helping life get back to normal by using heavy equipment. Now, after I completed my training, where I went to basic training to learn soldering skills like map reading and healthcare in order to take care of people that are injured, land navigation, the rank structure, how to march, then I went on to that advanced individual training to learn about heavy equipment. Now, after I did that, I had a part-time commitment and I went to college, and I was looking around about what the next step was, and I had looked at all the National Guard had done for me, and I wanted to be able to provide that information and those opportunities to other people. So, in order to become a recruiter, I had to go to a 5-week-long course in order to learn the ins and outs about the National Guard. The different incentives, the jobs, and different things that we could offer people. Eligibility. And what does eligibility mean? Well, that's my job. Find qualified people to enlist into our ranks so that way we have a ready standing force at home to give back in those times of need. What does that eligibility look like? Well, part of it is age. You can actually join the National Guard at the age of 17 as a junior in high school, or all the way up to your 35th birthday. Your citizenship status. Well, if you're born right here in Greenville, South Carolina, or if you're born in the United States, you are a U.S. citizen. But that doesn't mean you have to be born in the United States to join the National Guard. If you're a legal permanent resident and you have a green card, or if your parents are naturalized citizens and you're a derived citizen. We look at moral history. Do you have any major legal history that is kind of against what we stand for as an organization? No, a speeding ticket's not going to keep you out, a parking ticket. But if something major legal history, that might be something that I have to look up to see if you're still eligible. We look at your medical history. Is there any major medical history that you have that would stop you from having the ability to successfully complete our training, or something that by going to our training might put you at a health risk? And then lastly, we look at aptitude. Well, to be a recruiter, I told you I had to go to school. But to enter into a different type of job, the requirement is that you graduate high school, or that you're still currently in high school, and that you take the ASVAB. The Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery Test. Some of you may have already taken it. What it is a test broken up into 10 different sections that you test your knowledge in, that says, hey, how complex of a job could you be trained in? So you have that aptitude, it qualifies you for different jobs with your ASVAB score. Now, you would go through that basic training that I explained, and then that advanced individual training. We find for a lot of the jobs, the average training or the schooling, including basic training, is about 4.5 to 5 months by the time that you graduate with that skill. Now, for the more complex jobs, it could be a little bit longer. I'm sure that you understand that fixing Humvees is going to be a shorter school than somebody that is going to fix helicopters. Does that make sense? Now, what does an average day for me look like? Well, an average day for me is reviewing those regulations and those incentives because they change every day. What I mean by incentives, I'm sure you've heard the word bonus. Well, how much is that bonus? Which jobs carry that bonus? Have the amounts changed? Have they gone up? Have they changed jobs? Now, outside of that, I reach out to people in order to start conversations through different mediums. Text, social media, telephone calls, to people who have or have not considered military before. Like I said, until somebody talked to me, I had never considered the military. We also have conversations with family members so that way they fully understand your commitment, and that way you have the support of your family doing something like this. I'm going to start off with the hardest part of my job. The hardest part of my job is starting that conversation. We are so ingrained getting phone calls about warranties for cars we don't own or phone numbers that we don't know that we just want to hang up or get off the phone. Well, if you do receive a call and it happens to be Sergeant Sanford with the National Guard, I challenge you to accept that phone call because at the end of the day, information is free. It allows you to be able to learn a little bit about the National Guard and learn about how you're doing the National Guard with your current plan, not doing the National Guard instead of your current plan. The best part of my job, without a doubt, is watching somebody enlist into the National Guard and take advantage of different benefits and opportunities, whether that's money for college, extra income, health insurance, a resume builder, something that's going to set them up to accomplish their goal in life. My long-term career goals. Well, I'd like to stay in for 20 years because even at part-time, you get a retirement out of that. Of course, I'd like to reach the top of the rank structure, but ultimately, I'd like to know that I changed the lives as many people as I possibly could have and left this organization a little bit better than when I found it. Advice on finding a career you love. Look at the values that are important to you. Is it a challenge every day? Is it social interaction? Is it stability? If social interaction is important to you, don't go after a career that's going to have you in a cubicle staring at a computer all day. Make sure you line up your interests with things that are important to you. Advice for an interview. Research what you want to know and don't be afraid to ask questions. By researching about the company, it lets them know that you were motivated and took your own time to look up things about them. And by asking clarification questions, it lets them know about how you and that company can fit together and grow together. As far as the National Guard, I would say just be open and honest, have an open and honest conversation. If you have concerns, let us know. There are a lot of misconceptions out there, a lot of things that just simply aren't true. Now, any job is going to require some sacrifice, whether that's time away or schooling or effort. Being able to ask those questions that you're concerned about, you might find out information that it's not a problem for you at all. Job outlook. Well, the National Guard has been around since 1636, roughly 140 years before we were declared our independence as the United States. So there's always going to be that need to give back and put life back together when things go wrong. But specifically our career fields, we have many of them in the STEM fields, or we as an organization grow along with society. So as technology moves forward, our jobs, and we create new jobs in order to meet the needs of society at that time. So we have many jobs with a lot of potential growth and promotability. Lastly, I would say, do not be afraid to have a conversation. An interview goes both ways. Are we a good fit for you? Are you a good fit for us? If our values and goals line up and it's something that you both qualify for and want to take advantage of, then that is something that can open a lot of doors for opportunity. The worst case scenario is you're out 30 minutes of your time, but you were able to make a well-informed decision. So I hope that you were able to learn a little bit about the National Guard. I know this is a short video and you probably have a lot of questions, but you can absolutely feel free to talk to me whether you've taken the ASVAB or you're looking at going to Clemson or Greenville Tech, which my office is located at the registration center right there on South Pleasantburg as well. So feel free to reach out to me. If you reach out to your guidance counselors, they have my email, or you can reach out by phone or text 864-420-8298. and I'll be happy to answer your questions. Have a great rest of your school year.